It's really just to hold, it's really just to hold, it's really just to hold the cover in place. That's all we're really doing. You're doing such a good job.
I know.
Hey, what's up guys? Ken from 1L Moto. So we are back today and we are going to do something I've been waiting for quite a while. We've got the beautiful assistant Panthea K with us.
Hello.
And we are going to put some sexy as Duker bike gear on the V4. Now we've already gone ahead and pulled the bottom fairing off. And then what do we got for today, Panthea? Okay, let's have a look, shall we? So you've probably all seen this before. This is obviously just a real basic unboxing. You've seen this a million times on YouTube. So we've gone with a black. You can open that up. Oh, that's the actual, yep. That's the clutch pressure plate. So that's the red with the silver. The new ones have the really cool lines in them, so that's cool. And then we've gone with the pressure spring. Sorry, the pressure ring is that really nice silver. So that's gonna accent the red really well. And then for the actual housing, we've gone with black. So I think black isn't done enough, to be honest. And I actually really like it. So black with red with silver. So I know Panthea, you've been waiting for this mod for quite a while.
Yeah, I love it.
This is one of the sexier mods out there for a Panigale. So let's go ahead and install it. First thing we're gonna do is put the bike slightly over on its side. So we're just gonna rest it on its side stand. Before you even do that, obviously take off the lower fairing, put the bike on its side stand, and then we're gonna start undoing the bolts. Okay, one quick thing I forgot to mention is these. So these are replacement bolts for the actual housing. Now, these are $11. So it's a no-brainer. These are actually torque bolts. So as soon as you take these old bolts off, because they've been torqued down, they're actually stretched. So most people don't realize that putting old bolts back on, you run the risk of not getting the same torque as you would by putting some new bolts on. So go ahead, invest in some new bolts, $11, so that's around about $6 American. Ideally, I'd love to get them actually anodized black or get black bolts, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so just go ahead and take all 6 Torx bolts off and just make sure you keep them. Even though they're the old ones, there is a small chance we might need to use them again. I love hearing that little crack as soon as you just unbolt it. It's like the little steel popping on whatever Loctite is already on it. Gotta love that sound. This new Arrow exhaust, we put that on yesterday, so that looks pretty sweet. There is a video, I'll link to it in the description. How you getting on there, Muscles? Getting that done?
Make sure you're not fighting with me.
Oh really, why? You're gonna kick my ass?
I do.
Okay, awesome. That's good. This one you might just need to bend the actual fairing back a little bit to get to it, but you should be able to get to it without taking the actual fairing off. Okay, last screw just coming off. There we go. You might get a tiny little bit of oil drop down, but it should be all right. It is on an angle. So we'll put that to one side because we're not gonna need it anymore. And then we're going to take these 3 springs out. So basically these are little 10s, I think, size 10s. We're gonna undo them one at a time and then pull the spring retainer off. When you do that, make sure you don't let all of the clutch plates come off with it. It's a bit hard. You'll be all right. There you go, there you go. So do each of them about the same sort of speed. So now do a few on the next one. That's it. So you want to do it all quite evenly as you come off, rather than just doing all of one, and you'll find that a lot easier. That's it. They're not even on there that tough, are they? Like, to be honest with you.
Next project I can do it myself. I don't need
Sorry, say that again.
I said next project I can do it myself. I don't need
Next project, she can do it herself. Here we go. The new Persian mechanic in town. Okay, so my screws, I've undone my screws. I've taken my springs out and I'm just pulling my pressure plate off. Now, just with the pressure plate, make sure you don't let any of the actual clutch move position. So you don't want any of this falling out because it's going to be a whole lot easier to put it in if everything is aligned. So now there's a few things we need out of this. You can see in here, you've actually got the main spindle with a ball bearing. So we're going to press those out. We're going to use our 10-ton press. And then you can see these little metal circlips. These are going to come out as well. You can probably see them if you look down there into the shaft, these little metal circlips. So they're going to come out and they're going to go in the new pressure plate. So all up, this whole job, I think you're probably looking at about 30, 40 minutes. Okay, so a super easy way just to get these little circlips out if you don't have anything sharp is just get your screwdriver and just push in and they'll just pop straight out. There you go, done. And that's all you need to do. Just work your way around, grab all three. There you go, all three are out. We're gonna give this a bit of a wash because I don't want to get oil everywhere. And then it's gonna go on our press. So press, a handy little 12-ton press. I said 10, it's actually 12, let's get it right. Okay, so on this 12-ton press, you'll see I've lost my handle, but that's okay, I'll just use my broom handle. Just come in here and have a look. Ideally what we want is to make sure that the base of this is nice and flat on our surface before we press so that we don't actually destroy anything. So if you look at that, the hole fits our rod directly through it and then we've got a nice base to press through. So all we need to do now is press directly straight down. The size of this press is nice and flat, so we'll be able to press straight down and press it off. That's it. Just make sure it's all nice and central and stop there for a sec. Now you just want to double check that you're perfect there. And it should be nice and centered. And now go nice and slowly and just press that down. So just wait until it touches, make sure you're dead center.
It is.
You've got it dead center,
Yeah.
rock on.
And just keep going.
And just keep going. There you go. Feel that ping already?
Yeah,
That's already come out.
that's it.
Okay, so first up what we're gonna do is just take our little O-ring out and give it a bit of a lubrication. You can use WD-40, you can use engine lube, whatever you've got. You just don't want to be putting the face on with it dry, that's all. So we're just going to pop it out of there. Be sure not to damage it. We'll just give it a little bit of a spray. And then pop it straight back in. There we go, fits like a glove. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our beautiful assistant to take one side of the cover off because she's got nice clean hands compared to me, and then we're going to put it into onto here and then put the top on. Okay, just make sure you got nice clean hands when you do this and just take those protective covers off. Look at those nails. Kill someone with those bloody things. Cool, jeez. Okay. Okay, we'll speed this video up, obviously. Any day you want to get that off would be great. It's okay.
Do you have a knife?
Just YouTubers are watching, waiting for you to do this. That's all good. No, you can't use teeth. Okay, let's come back to you once it's off. Okay, she's finally got some traction here, on one side at least. Peel that off, don't get any fingerprints on it. No fingerprints. That's it, serious face. Nice. Oh, good save. Okay, now you need to do the other side without getting that side dirty. Oh, there you go. Fancy. Should have been a basketballer. Gonna hold a whole basketball like that. Where'd I get what from? What?
Where did you get this from?
I didn't. Oh, that. I got it from Italy. You want me to call the Italians?
Yes.
Ask them how to do it?
Doesn't
Good.
matter which way.
No, should be the same both ways. Just pop that down. Just make sure there's no dust on it. Cool. Nailed it. And now let's put the top on. Put the face on. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh yeah. That's gonna be cool. Okay, so now we'll get some bolts and we'll bolt this down. I'm gonna put all the torque specs in the video as well, because you're gonna need the torque specs for these, and the torque specs for these, and the torque specs for the springs as well. So I'll put all 3 torque specs. I'll just put them on screen right now for you. Okay, cool. So we just want to screw them down. Don't do them too tight because we are gonna torque them, and just use the torque wrench. But for now, just use an Allen key, just get it sort of hand tight. We'll torque wrench everything in a minute. Really just to hold. It's really just to hold. It's really just to hold the cover in place. That's all we're really doing. Okay, so we're just going to press the bearing and the stem back into the top. Now, before you do that, this is not actually at the height of the outer edge here, so we want to bump that up. So we actually want to put something like this directly underneath it to hold it, but I also don't want to scratch it. So I'm just going to put a rubber glove over that, and then I'm just going to sit this just like that, directly on top. Just make sure it's nice and even. And then from here, we can press down. Now I should mention that if you want, you can use a little bit of WD-40 on that bearing just to make sure it goes in. Now let's check that. And there we go. That bearing is seated perfectly. Okay, so we're just gonna put this back on. We're just gonna line it up. One thing to note is I'll put the little circlips back inside the little holes there as well. So we're just gonna put that on. Now, you've got to make sure you get this perfect, otherwise it's not actually going to, the clutch won't actually go in. So it takes a little bit of fiddling to get it right. Okay, I think that's right. So now I'll grab our 3 new bolts. And our springs. And then we want to bolt our springs back in place. Okay, so just make sure when you're putting it in, don't try and screw one the whole way in by itself. You want to do a little bit of each bolt, a little bit of each bolt, and just bring the whole thing in nice and evenly. And again, I'll put the torque specs up on screen as to what you're going to need. Okay, so just make sure you get your torque specs perfect. Again, I'll put them on screen for the spring retainer here. Okay, so next up, we're just gonna put our O-ring seal back on the little groove in the back of this. Same thing with our O-ring, just give it a bit of a CRC blast or a WD-40 blast, whatever you've got handy. Lay that in there. I'm trying to do this without getting overspray everywhere. There we go. Now we can take it over and put it on the bike. Okay, let's rock and roll. There we go, that's how it's gonna look. Now we've got our new bolts. So we've got our new Torx bolts. Let's just put them in finger tight for now. Okay, so that's it. That looks pretty awesome, I've got to admit. What do you think?
I love it.
You love it? It's good, eh?
So excited.
This is like the #1 mod everyone's got to do. I know there's a whole bunch of videos on YouTube already, but hey, look, I had to do it. So, right, you can do the honors, Pantia. You can turn it on. Let's see how she looks when she's running.
Ready?
Yep. That is awesome. Okay, so that's it. You know the deal. Like, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.